Welcome to Military Faith and Spiritual Resilience. This is Elizabeth Fulgaro. With me today is Renee Hamilton-McNealy, soldier and artist. Welcome back, Renee.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
I'm so happy to continue your story and your sharing. And I'm wondering, I know that where your career has led you, really in all different aspects of your life, is into leadership. So I'm wondering if you can share kind of when you realized you were a leader, and what leadership looks like to you, and what propelled you onto this path.
Gosh, it feels great just hearing the question. What instantly came to mind is thinking of being in third grade in math class and pretty much standing up for other people, even if that's not what's expected. There was a young lady in my class who had, I'm not sure what it was, but a hair growth issue or some kind of illness she was dealing with, and her hair was very short. And another young girl would, pick on her each day. There was some kind of conviction within that just was not comfortable for me. And I couldn't stand by and watch how that happened. Plus, it was my friend, and I knew she had some kind of illness. And I was doing very well in math class. So I remember the same little girl would call me weird. And I would say, hey, I'm weird, but I have an A. Like, what are your grades? And I would say, focus on the work. And I remember saying, however I spoke at that time, and while you're at it, I said, leave my friend alone. I knew my tone of voice changed. I guess I would call that more of an authoritative tone now that I look back at it. And I felt this particular, I'll say, energy behind my eyes, probably rage or disgust. And there was a day, I gotta share this part. After school, I remember I had 3 boys with me. So we're gonna walk up to her. We're gonna tell her to leave her alone. And I did in that moment. I said, hey, Rose, and I tapped her. One of the little boys really started to try to fight her, the young girl who was messing with my friend. And in that moment, something convicted I experienced within. It was more of correcting a wrong does not mean you have to bring harm. It doesn't mean that. And I remember saying, no, leave her alone. And in that moment, I realized this young girl probably has some issue at home. Well, I didn't realize as a kid. As I reflect, I do. And she thinks it's okay to bother someone else's peace. These young boys think it's okay to defend the friend. And I'm like, wow. So I realized in this moment, there's a lot of different things going here, but why me? Why do I have to be the one to straighten it out? And in that moment, I believe that leadership kicked in because it was uncomfortable. Who's going to stand up to the bully? The bully is usually the more senior person, the person with the most power and influence. But I saw my friend go from having her head hung lower every day to sitting up straight, doing her work, getting better grades. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, this is right.
What made that happen?
Oh, God.
Do you want to, is that something to share?
Yeah, we can discuss it. It's just, I realize there's a certain discomfort I have where, for me, leadership is sincerely doing the right thing despite what's uncomfortable, being okay to, even if you're all peers, stepping beyond that to correct or address something. I felt like my teacher was aware, but nobody's doing anything, and I think it's going to get worse. I can visualize her head like going lower each day. She could have dealt with depression or whatever from that. So I know that, oh, wow, I never really said this, like me putting myself in that uncomfortable situation and standing up for her and letting her know she doesn't deserve to be spoken to that way or be bullied each day at school really helped, because when the other girl would, after that situation would come and look at her a certain way, I would give her a certain look. I could put words to it, but I won't. And I really could. This would make a good cartoon to help people deal with bullying. Oh, wow, that sounds great. Oh, my God, that sounds good. Wow. But for me, I see her. I know the row she's sitting in. I see the old school desk. I see the instructor at the front, not really paying attention to what's going on or ignoring. But her head was held up. And I should go find her on Facebook. But she was able to focus on why she was there. Maybe that was a bit much for me to have to take on, but something within me knew it had to happen, and I didn't mind doing it. And I've seen that follow me in school, in the military, as an artist, in friendships. I don't always do the work for other people or be the problem solver or the savior or the fix it person, but I understand the power of leadership and holding people accountable. And it's okay, even if it's temporary, uncomfortable, or you're not liked. There's something bigger than that that has to be done. And I don't think I can avoid it.
So how is that for you? I mean, because a lot of people, they don't know how to do it, or they're not sure they should do it. What kind of are the feelings that are there when you see a situation and you're evaluating, is this a place that I need to say something? Like, how is there a process? Is it just instinct, or can you walk me through it?
Okay, so I have to think of maybe a scenario in order to give that example. I would think of I think of a young junior soldier who had interest with going from the reserve to regular army to being active duty. He did not feel like he was met with the level of mentorship or support to show how to do it. And if you don't deal with things a lot, you may not be the expert. It doesn't mean you're a bad leader. You know, everybody have room for growth, but I can tell that they were really frustrated and they had their thoughts about different people. And I gave them room to talk about that. I say, hey, how about we work through this? First, I like to affirm people and give them credit. I just said, what I see is that you continually want to serve your country, even though, oh, wow, that felt great saying that, goodness. Even though you've had difficulty or not the level of support you need with an administrative process that many may not be familiar with, your desire is there. You want to go from doing it in the reserve to active duty. You mentioned what your father's done. You want to keep that going. This means a lot to you. And in that moment, allow them to speak the truth really help. And I said, well, you're worthy of knowing what the steps are to do so. So we literally sat. Sometimes you won't always have time to do it, but I know when I personalize it, make it one-on-one, make time for them, just by them feeling valued and heard, that goes the distance. Went over the processes, paperwork, who signs what, addressed it with his leaders. We were able to get him, his documentation approved. He was able to go on active duty. I should go find where he's at too. But I've realized that if I'm aware of the systems and processes, I can share that or give examples to help organizations that may not know how to do it, to show them how. I use the word simple, and things are simple if you have the experience and the confidence with it. But I like to show them that, hey, don't let your thoughts of this is difficult or we haven't really done it get in the way. And I like to walk people through it, even the lowest level, to say, this is how this is done. Here's an example. Here's a book for reference at a later time. And I always tell them, you just make a promise that you'll be able to do the same for somebody else who needs it. I just feel, honestly, I really do feel something within, like, this is a calling. You need to go, you need to fix this. If it's within my organization or under my leadership, of course I have to. But I've never limited myself just to the unit I was assigned to. So, especially with social media, making self available to support others, but reminding them to utilize their chain of command. But again, we mentioned community earlier. It's not linear to who's in your building, who's in your unit, but who's to your left and your right in the entire, armed forces.
So it seems like another word that we could use for your leadership style, and by leadership style, I'm not trying to box you in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to label you in any way, but I'm seeing some characteristics, empowerment.
Yeah, that sound, even my voice got deeper. That's it. Many probably have lost sight of their own power, never seen it. I like to take the person with the least experience sometimes and put them in the position of leadership, maybe a rank or two above. We've always been taught to work 2 ranks above and challenge. And then they see, oh, wow, I do have these skills, or, oh, wow, I need to work on this. If people get stagnant, they tend to question do they bring any value to the table?
What would you say to soldiers right now who felt like they didn't have value and don't have that support and didn't and are just kind of working at their level but are discouraged? What would you say to them right now?
Part of our part of our creed, the non-commissioned officer comes to mind. Like, all soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership. I will provide that leadership. I like to remind them that they're deserving of it. At their level, they're deserving of it.
So every person, whether that's coming to them or not, whether they're receiving it or not, they're entitled to it.
It's entitled. Yep. I like to say that first. And if they feel that they are not receiving, especially when I get to a new organization and new soldiers, I say that you are entitled to that. That is an expectation you should have from me. Not only will I counsel or provide feedback or my expectations to you, but I'm open to what you feel that you would need from me. And I like to remind them that their concerns or desires are valid. Maybe the why they joined could have shifted. Some may join for college, some join because of family tradition, some join because they simply want to serve, some join to get away from traumatic situations, some simply want to serve, or it could be a mix. But I say to them, just tap in, spend time with yourself to know what would be ideal. What would it feel like each time you put your uniform on to go to your unit? What is the best case scenario? And sometimes what I've realized over the years is that they may not feel seen or heard from leaders, or if they're there or not, or engaged or not, it may not be known. And this, I told them to share their story, who they are, bring that to the table, find creative ways in doing so. There was a soldier who I didn't even know he can sing. He's working on a record deal, might as well. He recently separated from service. And I had to remind him, by the way, you're not quitting, you're not ending, you're still serving in a different capacity, in a different way. And you're courageous enough to realize that your time has ended here, but you're always a veteran. And so he was humming something. And I remember, I'm like, wait a minute, who is that? You can sing? I said, do you sing the national anthem? Sing. Oh, this just cut full circle right now. Oh my God. I said, sing a little bit. I said, no, do And the Rockets Red Glare. Because if you can't do that, you can't sing the song. He ended up singing the national anthem for an NCO induction ceremony that we had.
Oh, wow.
He's E3, the induction ceremony for E5s and above.
Nice.
So I guess that ties into what I said before about feeling shortchanged from an experience to sing. Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Feeling shortchanged, and in that moment, it's like a light bulb click. Hey, Renee, you have the opportunity not only to let him be seen or heard, but create the opportunity. We update the programs. His name was on there to sing. And now anybody who sees it today will wonder, why is a PFC, why is E3 on the program for a ceremony that involves NCOs? And then everyone else who heard him sing so wonderfully was just like, wow. Okay, I know I have this event, I have that event. And I just sit back and snicker in joy because, again, I think leadership is an opportunity to help people be seen and heard. It's not a whole statement. Beyond talent management, beyond talent optimization, it's knowing who the people are, their gifts. And when they can put more of their whole self somewhere, you get more commitment versus compliance.
Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. So how would you tell a new leader to do that? Someone who's beginning to have people around them. How do you do that?
I know we say lead by example, but they have to be, I would say, authentic, transparent, and vulnerable. Oh, I like that, ATV. By that, the initial communication. The soldiers are more than numbers and metrics and things of that nature. And of course, how you perform on your fitness tests and how well you do well in your job, those are givens. You need to thrive to be excellent with that. That has to happen no matter what. We're, a warfighting organization. That just is what it is. But I would say spend time to have the conversations. Go for a walk, learn people. Don't sit behind the desk hacking away on a computer. There are moments that will never happen again. You can walk by someone. When I ask somebody how they're doing, I want to know. And I pause. There have been times I've missed, I would recommend this, important meetings because I was having a conversation with a soldier and it psychs my mind out. Be fully present when listening and getting to know your people. And view it as an honor, view it as a gift. It feels like it's fresh, brand new. This actually the 21st this month I hit 24 years of service, but this last even year feels freshly new. I've always taken the time to get to know people. Initially, it was to get to know them, to know what their intrinsic motivation is and value, to connect it and for retention, and those things matter. But I really like to pause the time to learn, oh, this specialist, oh, they're working on their 2 classes from their PhD. Oh, what's holding you up? Oh, you think you're too young to achieve this? Do you need support? Do you understand the educational benefits? And then when they do, buy them a big old cake. I won't tell people to spend their money. Do what you can to acknowledge them. I like to acknowledge and tell them to acknowledge them, not just a handshake, but in front of their peers, in front of the formation. It doesn't have to be when they get like an Army Achievement Medal or when they graduate of school, but maybe they got married. Maybe there's a new little baby. Maybe, again, they finished a certain certificate program. When you let people know you see who they are beyond what they do, I think you build some really robust relationships. You get that commitment. You build the family. And that's going to increase productivity and efficiency, but I think it taps into people a little bit deeper. And the military can benefit from that. The world can benefit from that. Yeah.
So they're whole human beings. Whole human beings. You treat the whole person, you see the whole person, and you invest in the whole person simply because the person has value. That's what I hear you saying. That you're not investing in them for the numbers to try to get them to re-enlist. You're not investing in them for that reason. You're actually investing in them because you see them as whole human beings who inherently are endowed with priceless value.
I love that. Priceless value. Yeah.
Let's continue this conversation, Renee.
I would love that.
Okay, great.